Senator, your legislation would reduce the number of members on the Penn State Board of Trustees. Why is that important?
There's been a lot of discussion around governance reform at Penn State University. The university hired a consultant, formed a new board governance committee to address issues where they feel there's deficiencies in how the University Board of Trustees operates. And the legislature wants to be a partner with the university. We've been a partner since 1855. When the state legislature created Penn State University and then named it its sole land-grant university. So I think there needs to be a partnership between Penn State and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. My bill will continue that partnership that has unparalleled success in the world of higher education. Penn State's a world-class institution. There has been mistakes made that have opened our eyes to the deficiency in the current governance structure with so many members on the board. With over 32 members of the board and 30 voting members, it's clear that they're out of step with other major universities, other major public universities across the nation. National groups have studied and researched this issue. They've proven that smaller boards are more engaged and more effective. Our legislation would make Penn State University's Board of Trustees more engaged, more effective stewards of the public mission of Penn State University.
Your bill reduces the number of members from 32 to 23. Do you really think that that reduction of 9 is going to make a big difference?
It'll make a big difference. When you look at the major top 25 universities in the country, they all have less than 25 members of the board. There's a reason for that. When you have less than 25 members of the board, that means everyone that's on that board is going to play an engaged role in the decision-making process of the university. The mistakes that have been made at Penn State over the last few years, clearly there was a chain of command, a chain of information that failed to get to the entire board. When you have large boards, you look at whether they're corporate boards or boards in higher education, smaller boards are proven to be more effective.
Under your legislation, the governor and the president of the university would no longer be voting members on the board. Why is that important?
Well, in most universities across the country, the president, the CEO of the institution is not a voting member. There's an inherent conflict of interest. The Board of Trustees has already made that change at the board level. We want to make a change in statute. The governor has stepped aside, but that's this governor. That's not in statute, so we want to put it in statute. We also remove the other political appointments, including the Education Secretary, DCNR Secretary, and the Agriculture Secretary. The Ag Secretary and the Education Secretary remain as non-voting members, but they would not be voting members of the board. There is also an inherent conflict of interest with those secretaries serving the will of the governor rather than having the fiduciary responsibility to Penn State University.
The Republican chairman of the committee, when you initially introduced this bill, said he was going to hold off because he wanted to see what reform measures the Board of Trustees was taking. Now that he is ready to move the bill, what has he told you about why he's doing that?
Well, I think he's concerned with the slow pace, the limited reforms that have happened at the board level. They have continued to push off major and significant reforms. But ultimately, the issue comes down to whether the state legislature that created Penn State University in 1855 and has given billions of tax dollars to the university should play a role, should play a statutory role in creating a better governance structure at Penn State. I believe the members of the Senate Government Committee are going to pass judgment on that issue today, support the measure, move forward, and continue that partnership. This is not a punitive measure toward Penn State. This is about strengthening Penn State. It's our land-grant university. It's a world-class university. We want to make it stronger and better. And the best way to do that is governance reform at the board level so that we have a more effective, efficient, and accountable Board of Trustees at Penn State.